So I thought it was probably about time that I shared my rune set, and here it is. It's a beautiful set that was made for me by a friend. It's made on hazel, and I work with the Younger Futhark. I work with 16 runes. Here they all are. I shall run through the names or the deities associated with the runes in a minute. As a shaman, I tend to work with the deities' names rather than the sounds of the runes, but it's interchangeable and it's whatever works best for you. The way that I work with runes, or the way that I read runes, is my set, and you'll see I've got a few more in here. Basically, every rune is repeated 3 times. And so that you can see that the deck is double-sided. There we go, we've got Thor on the back. Classically, this means that in a rune reading, which would be 3 runes, one for the past, one for the present, and one for the future as yet untold, that the same rune can be repeated 3 times. It's very rare, although to be honest, when reading for myself, I often have 2 runes, and I certainly have had the odd rune reading where the same rune is in all 3 places. So that's one of the big differences between tarot and runes, is that the same rune can be repeated. You'll find a million different associations with the runes depending on which book, which video, which blog you are working with. At the end of the day, if however you are reading with the runes is working for you, then you're doing it right. And so all I can do on these videos is share how I work with the runes, and if it helps, fantastic. If it doesn't work for you, that's absolutely fine as well. I'm in the process of collating quite a short ebook, which I'll be selling quite soon direct from my website, with the associations, magical associations, and such like. So this is just an introductory video. First thing I'm going to do is run through the deities that I associate with these runes, and then I will demonstrate a super quick rune reading for myself right now. That's how I work with tarot, so it makes sense to start with runes that way as well. So this is the order that I work with the runes as well, the classical, what I would call the Futhark sort of order. And so we have Frey, Vidar, Thor, Odin, Hel, Loki, Heimdall, the 3 Norns, which are Ud, Verdandi, and Skuld, Skarthe, Jord, Balder and his son Forseti, Tyr, Frigg, Freya, Njord, and Ul. It's important to remember with the runes, there is no bad rune. Classically, most people aren't pleased if I start to put them back and just leave a few out. Most people aren't pleased to get Loki, because Loki, or Kreft, to use the sound of his rune, is chaos. And, chaos is a scary thing. But if you want change in your life, then Loki is a good rune to get. And certainly before my marriage broke down, I worked with Loki a lot because I knew I needed to make a change. And so, I really worked with the Loki energy, or the Kreft energy, to bring in that change. But certainly if you are in a stable position in your life, and if you are happy with your life the way it is, then Loki isn't necessarily the best rune to have in a reading. The other rune that people tend to shy away from, and naturally, because I want to talk about it, it has gone, is the rune for the Norns, the 3 Norns. The 3 Norns often represent in a reading difficult times, necessity. They're associated with the rune poem, The Naked Freeze in the Frost. And so the Norn rune, the Nud rune, can suggest difficult times, a bit like the 5 of Pentacles. But there's a feeling, I think, because there's only 16 runes, each rune has a real core depth feel to it. And the feel for me with the Norns is, yes, these are difficult times, but there is an opportunity to learn right now. And it really makes me think, several years back now, I was aware, based on tarot readings, that my income was going to significantly drop that year. So I really put a lot of effort into my website, my online booking system. I really boosted my business. And yes, sure enough, my income dropped. Nothing to do with my paid income, it's to do with some other income that I had. And because of that, I was really able to boost my business. And I'm forever grateful now that I spent that year boosting my business. But at the time, it was really scary. And that to me is that sort of Narnia type energy of, you may not like this now, but there's a lesson there that you can look back on and be grateful for. So with a rune reading, classically you would pull 3 runes, and the 3 runes represent the 3 norns. So the first rune represents Ud. She is the past and everything that has happened up to this point. You may notice I read tarot in this way. You can't take the runes out of me, really. The middle rune represents Verdandi. She is the power of the present moment. And if you think about it, the present moment is all we have. And the present moment, if we can make informed, empowered choices, really does change the future. And the rune for the future is Skuld. And Skuld represents, well, effectively debt. But debt has very negative connotations now. So the future rune, the Skuld, represents the future that you are currently creating. As an example, if you chose to drink a bottle of wine tonight, you are going to wake up with a hangover. You are creating your future by the choices that you make right now. And so that's sort of the very typical layout for a rune reading. And this is just a brief introduction. My problem with teaching the runes is almost where to start and where to finish. There's so much. So I just thought I'd get the ball rolling. And then if you have questions, do put them in the comments and I will try to answer them with videos or blogs, depending on what the situation is. So I can start to really share this information. So I am just picking the first rune, the rune to represent my past, which is Heimdall. So Heimdall is a god very much associated with structure. He represents the crystal, the ice crystal. But if you read your Norse mythology, he's also associated with order. He's involved in the lay of Rig and the different classes of mankind. When I think about this and I read runes, just as I read tarot, I pause and I think, does that feel right? What's the message there? And I think this rune reading has to be about my journey with the runes, because it's very much at the forefront of who I am at the moment. I've spent the last year teaching rune lore. Each month I've done a 2-hour Zoom session. Once I've finished, I'm never doing that again. It's been really intense. Each month I've written up very detailed notes. Each month I have deep dived and researched one rune. I've done 3 shamanic journeys in a workshop, 3 separate workshops as well. So the last year has been a real structured teaching. I have never done anything like that before in my life. And it's been intense and it's been good. So I think that's where I've been up to this point. That structured focus where each week I'm either researching or writing or teaching or leading on a journey on the rune of the month. So the next, and I'm not looking, though you can't see that. Ooh, there were 2 there. There we go. And the other thing with this is there are 2 sides. So and I'm not looking, so I don't know what you can see. But you have to decide, which, and I've decided that side. Which side are you going to pull? So the next rune is Njord, the Vanir sea god. And don't worry if this is confusing. Like I say, I'm compiling a really affordable PDF ebook at the moment that you'll be able to grab from my website and print out or read on your device, which will cover all of the basic associations. So Njord is associated with, he's the great negotiator, he's wise, he's compassionate, but he's also associated with wealth and abundance. And I really feel now that I'm in my stride with the runes and the shamanics, that I'm ready to share my work. And because I love teaching runes so much, it's a really pleasant way for me to increase my abundance. It will take some of the pressure off me with my client work, which I love and I will never stop doing. But it can be intense being, supporting people through difficult times. So to me, this is about increasing my abundance, enjoying my abundance now as a result of a year spent in very structured learning and teaching. So that feels good. When I think about my life as well, just sort of an odd detail, I did a shamanic journey with two friends the other day, and one of the ladies saw a white horse. And though that's connected with the Varnia, the fact that it's a white horse also connected with Njord. So it feels like there's a resonance there. Now, you can see, I can't. And I just think how you pull the rune, it's up to you. Sometimes you just know, you just find it. Sometimes you just let them fall through your fingers till there's only one left. And the last rune is Frey. So Frey is without doubt my favourite god. I've got no problems in saying that. And he's very much associated with abundance as well. In fact, the name of his rune is fee, and we still use that word. We still pay a fee. He is associated with harvest, abundance, and wealth as well. He's Njord's son. So there is a real feeling, I'm really chuffed about this, that my structured research and teaching is now going to start to pay off. So that's just a brief introduction, just a sort of a very first start point, if you like. I am working really hard behind the scenes to get this book together. It will have pictures of all the runes. It will have the rune poems in them, if you're not familiar with those. I can say at this point the rune poems are my translations. I translated them from Old Norse into English when I was living in Orkney. One day my teacher turned up at my house with an enormous Old Norse dictionary and told me to come back when I'd done. I was not impressed. So the ebook will have the rune poems, the pictures of the runes. It will have associations, the sound, and ways you can use them for both magic and rune reading. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Do let me know what you want to know more of, because my life has been enmeshed with the runes for over 20 years now, and my biggest problem is I forget where to start. So let me know.